Praise be Jesus and Mary, now and forever. May we celebrate one of the more magnificent events in the history of our salvation, that of the Assumption of Our Lady into heaven, body and soul. That is, at the end of her earthly life, Our Lady was taken, body and soul, into heaven, into the heavenly glory. And this points to what will become of us in the end times as well, as we too will be raised from the dead. Our bodies will be reunited with our souls, and we too will enter either into the same heavenly glory or to misery and hell without God for all eternity, one or the other. And our Lord refers to that explicitly in chapter 5 of the Gospel of St. John. But we here look now towards that heavenly glory that Our Lady has taken on, that where she is now. And that's what we contemplate today, from that moment of the end of her earthly life to, as it is continuing for all eternity, she has achieved that glory. She is the first, number one, after our Lord. As we saw in the second reading, first, our Lord himself, there it is from St. Paul to the first letter of St. Paul to the Corinthians, that our Lord, that God will follow the order. First, his own Son, and then all of those, all the rest of us, starting, of course, number one with Our Lady. Because no one conformed to the heavenly will of God than our most blessed Lady, and lived that will all of her life. And no one endured more closely with her Son, her own Son, the very suffering of the redemption of our Lord, who stood near the cross of our Lord, offering the same sacrifice, mystically, but yet really offering, all for the love of all of us. No one more closely united herself with God throughout her entire earthly life, from the moment of her conception. And so we contemplate Our Lady in that heavenly glory that she has achieved by that ever close union, intimate union with God, that she lived throughout her entire life. And it bids us to imitate her holiness, her purity, her immaculateness, to imitate her virtues so that we too can achieve that intimate union with God. We'll never reach the same degree as Our Lady, of course. But we can attain that union with God, and we can begin here in this life. And this will prepare us for that everlasting union with God in eternity. We begin here in this life, starting now, imitating her virtues, her humility, her charity. And we saw that in the gospel reading we just heard. Actually, we see both the humility and the charity, because in charity Our Lady goes right away after the Annunciation, and she hears from the Archangel that her own cousin is now in her 6th month. She who was called barren, was already elderly, was now barren, now is in her 6th month, goes hastily to her. And then we see her humility as she proclaims her Magnificat. She's exalted already by her cousin as the Mother of God. Who am I, that the Mother of my Lord should come to me? And she responds in all humility, giving all back to God and regarding herself only as his lowly handmaid. So we see already the heroic practice of virtue in Our Lady that will lead to this glorious event, that of her Assumption into heaven, body and soul. And we are bidden to imitate those same virtues. Again, I repeat, we can never reach the heroic degree of Our Lady, but we can imitate those virtues, and we can't even reach a heroic degree. It is nothing less than our call to holiness, our response to the will of God in everything. And we can do it beginning in this earthly life now, so that we can achieve the glory of paradise, the glory of that heavenly union with God, an intimate union with God, an intimate loving union with God in paradise. Praise be Jesus and Mary, now and forever.